So I just got done a YesWelder video on a project that I'm working on, which is right behind me. You guys have probably seen a couple shorts of it. This will be my do everything off-road trailer. There'll be more on that. I'll have a video ready soon. That'll be up on the channel. The video for YesWelder will also be ready pretty soon. But the reason why I wanted to talk about it is because they sent me this TIG 200P welding machine to try out. I wanted to put out a review on this because I am actually thoroughly surprised by this machine. I really didn't think it was going to do as good as it did. So I wanted to go over the settings, go over how this thing does, and if this is something you guys think you would use at home, you can go to YesWelder.com, use my code StickmanFab23, get 10% off this machine. They know I sent you, and the channel gets a little bit of a kickback so we can do some more interesting projects and I can show you guys how to do this stuff. So this machine, as I said, does AC and DC welding. So AC is for aluminum, DC is for pretty much everything else. Now in the box, you get the ground clamp, you get the TIG torch, and of course you get the machine with a hose. You have to get your own regulator, which YesWelder sells the regulators for about $40, give or take. This is the TIG torch that I get, and I wanted to touch on this because I really didn't think I was going to like this because of how big it is. And I was absolutely wrong. The way the handle is, the way it's designed, and the way it's angled, it actually fits very well in my hand and is very comfortable to use. It is a bigger torch, but it feels very good in the hand. I'm very surprised by this. I honestly didn't want to like it, but I do. They also have this articulating ball in here that makes it a little easier to move around. The lead comes with the sleeve and is very flexible. It doesn't get caught up on anything. The ground is actually okay. I didn't burn it up, so that's a good thing. That could be something to stand to get upgraded at a later time. But I also wanted to talk about these settings. So the P in the TIG 200P, the P stands for pulse weld. So I want to go over the face of this machine real quick. The one nice thing about this machine too is that when this thing boots up and it's sitting on standby without you using it, the fan doesn't turn on. The fan's automatic. When I go to start welding, that's when the fan starts kicking on. It's really nice because my other two machines, the fan just automatically comes on and stays on and makes a decent amount of noise to where it can get annoying at times, whereas this thing is nice and quiet. Now, with that being said, I got it plugged into 110. This thing says I can go up to 160 amps on a 110 outlet. Maybe one of these days I'll try it, but I was welding on this trailer at about 140 amps off of 110 outlet. Now, I tend to think that 140 is a little optimistic. I don't think it's quite 140 amps, but maybe I'm wrong. So I'll go over the settings real quick. Over here on the far left, this is for your trigger settings. So you can do 2T, which is you hold the trigger down in order for the arc to initiate, and then you let it go like the mid gun. To 4T, hold the trigger down to get it started, and then once you get it started, you can let go of the trigger and continue on. And then you hit the trigger again to stop. Then you also have the spot, where you hold the trigger down, it goes on for the amount of time that you put for the spot timer, and then it shuts off automatically. So now over here in the middle, this is your different welding settings here. You got no pulse, you got pulse, and then you got stick mode. Up here, your pulse settings, and every light will give you something else. So you can set a slope ramp if you want for your trigger. So when you hit the button on the trigger, it slopes up from a starting amperage to your welding amperage. And you can do that for everything you can do for the start, you can do for the stop. That's your slope up. That's your starting amperage. So if I am on the 4T trigger and I hold the trigger down, that's where your starting amperage is. So I'll hold it down to keep it at, I don't know, we'll say 40 amps. And when I let go of the trigger, it'll go up to my welding amperage. Now, if I choose to slope up, it'll slope up from 40 to whatever my welding amperage is in a certain amount of time that I suggest. Pre-gas, and how much time you have gas come out before you start welding. Post-gas, same thing, but after welding. Your stopping amperage, so it's the same thing when you're welding and you want to stop. You hold the trigger down, it goes down to your stopping amperage, whatever that may be, and then you let go of the trigger to completely stop. And then your slope down timer as well, same thing as this slope up timer, just down. And then here is your pulse settings right here. So this is your duty cycle, which is 70. I have it set at 77%. The higher the duty cycle, the longer you're on the higher amperage of your pulse setting. Here is your pulse timer, so the hertz that it's at. So right now it's at 0.6 hertz, which is one round every, or 0.6 rounds every second, which is pretty slow. Now I can go from anywhere from 0 to holy crap. Really? Okay, I didn't know that. I'm adjusting the hertz for my pulse setting, and it'll go all the way up to 200 hertz? Really? All right, I'm going to have to try that. I was not aware of that. I thought it was only like 5 or 10. And then I can also set my amperage on my lowest pulse setting. So I've got my welding amperage, which would be, let's say my amperage is 140 amps. My high pulse setting would be 140 amps. My low pulse setting I can set anywhere. So that's the basics of the settings. The only thing that I don't like is that it doesn't have a memory. So every time I start this thing up, its default is AC, 2T trigger, no pulse. Really, if I can't change that, that really does bother me a little bit. But all in all, the machine works pretty good. Oh, not just really good. The machine works great. I was thoroughly impressed. Especially with some of the stuff I was welding. I'm running off of a 110 wall outlet with this thing. I was welding 1/8 square tubing and getting full penetration without a problem. So, I think this machine is really good for somebody to start on. I just want to put my 2 cents out there. I think this machine is a really good machine. Something that you should look into if you want to get into some TIG welding. Like I said, it does stick welding as well. Most inverter machines do stick welding, as well as whatever other process they're focused on. But I just wanted to give my quick 2 cents, especially because I saw this TIG torch and I thought I wasn't going to like it. Turns out I do. There's been a couple people asking me about how to support the channel in a way that they can. I hadn't put much thought into it. I'm not a big merch guy, but I did put a post up earlier in the week showing that I did start making t-shirts. I did a couple t-shirts to see if it's something that people are interested in. You know, one of them funny meme shirts. And then the other ones just have my name and my new logo. So if you guys want to support the channel, that's one way to do it. But that's it for now. Stay tuned for this. I'm going to do a review and test video on this thing. Again, if you guys want your own TIG 200p welder, they're about $549 on YesWelder's website. But you use StickmanFab23 in the discount code. That'll get you 10% off of that, which is a pretty big deal when you're spending $500. Subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see more welding stuff, especially if you want to see more TIG welding and more plasma cutting. And This trailer build is going to be on it too. Such as I got to finish up the back of this thing. But until then, I'll see you later.